Good evening, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Please just give me one quick moment to double check to make sure everything is working on my end, and so far it does seem like that is the case, so that's good. Okay, so we're moving on today. Today we've got 2002. Yep, 2002, which with is Naruto, which is another big one. It's another show that I have not seen at all, so I don't really. All I really know about Naruto is there's, you know, Naruto himself can do the clones. I know the meme that Sakura is useless, and I know that the one uh, adult, the Tsunade, I think her name is. I know she has big tits. That's pretty much all I am knowledgeable about. But I mean, I obviously know that it exists. It's kind of impossible to avoid culturally, but I've never seen it, so I don't really know anything about it, really, aside from the stuff that everybody knows. But I am curious to see what's going on. And just for the record, I did start watching stuff off stream. On days that we do stream, I'm going to be watching usually one extra anime in my own time. Just that's what the timing ends up working. Yesterday it was Berserk, which I wasn't going to watch on stream anyway due to just potential TOS issues. And that was a good thing I watched it off stream because Guts did show his dick at one point, which, you know, wouldn't have been very nice for YouTube. And ultimately, like that, that's probably getting either an A or a B tier. But yeah, I'm going to be continuing to watch stuff off stream. So if you wonder why in the future some of the ranking, some of the things on YouTube in the playlist are going to skip, that's why. It's because I'm not watching them live. That's because I want to get this video done. I would ideally like to get this video done by early December. We'll see if that's possible. Can't do that if I just stick to the stream schedule. So, as always, let's just quickly go over the summary blurb. 12 years ago, a colossal demon fox terrorized the world. During the monster's attack on the Hidden Leaf Village, the Hokage, the village's leader and most powerful ninja, sacrifices himself to seal the beast inside a newborn, relieving civilization from destruction while dooming the baby to a lonely life. Now, after years of being shunned and bullied, Naruto Uzumaki pesters the village with elaborate pranks and vandalism. Despite these antics, he works hard to achieve his dream to become the Hokage and earn the acknowledgement of those who have mistreated him for his entire life. Naruto joins Team 7, a ninja squad made up of two of his peers, prodigy Sasuke Uchiha and clever Sakura Haruno. Under the aloof Kakashi Hatake's leadership, Team 7 takes on a series of difficult missions, forcing its members to grow in strength and camaraderie despite their many differences. Naruto strives to stand out in his rivalry with Sasuke and to earn the romantic affection of Sakura. But as the trio brush against danger and death, their tragic pasts threaten to tear them apart. Okay, well, pretty standard shonen stuff, so we'll see how that goes. I know Naruto's a very long-running show. I know there have been side shows and stuff like that going on, so I will also say that, again, there's, besides Naruto itself having almost 1,000 episodes, then there's Naruto Shippuden, which is another bunch of episodes. So one thing about shonen is a lot of times the early episodes are not that good, and I've heard that may be the case for Naruto, which, if that's the case, I guess sucks. It could end up having a lower grade than the entire show really deserves, but that's the risk that I knew I was taking when I decided to structure the tier list as it is. So let's... Excuse me. And skipping intro for copyright reasons, I will about Naruto going in, is that the shadow clones are like his thing. So I do find that kind of interesting that it starts out with that being his weakest of the jutsu, the magical abilities. So that's an interesting little quirk show. And then like hundreds more of the sequel show. If it didn't kind of grow and evolve over time, I would be very shocked because I don't know, no show, no matter how good it is, can really last that long without changing at least a little bit. But yeah, basically, all I really knew about the show going in was that Naruto could do like the shadow clone thing. I know that was his thing. I know the meme that Sakura is useless, and I know that Tsunade has big tits. That's pretty much it. is almost kind of showing that he has the dedication and discipline needed, but at the same time, you almost wonder why he couldn't figure this out beforehand, because it's not just that he was weak, but it was showing him to be kind of slacking off. So I'm kind of doing the initial moral standoff of, well, while we, the viewer, are able to figure out that Iruka is the good guy and Mizuki's the bad guy in this particular engagement, the whole idea is that they're trying to put Naruto in this quandary of who do I trust. I will say it would probably be a lot more believable if Mizuki wasn't basically giving an anime villain monologue, but yeah. This seems to be like a continual build-up of established character traits, which is the idea that Iruka is as a teacher, he's not just there to impart his knowledge, but he's also kind of taken Naruto under his wing in a sense and, made it his job to protect him. And they, had several instances of that mentality going on throughout this episode, and that just naturally built to this moment. Again, nothing particularly outside the box, but all very effective. I also wonder, is that crystal ball he has the ability to, see far distances? I am laughing, and I get that those sound effects were meant to be kind of funny. I almost feel like it kind of undermines the climactic finale to that scene, to that confrontation there. I'm going to have to sit with that and think about what I really think about it, but part of me really enjoyed that. Part of me thinks, oh, those sound effects at the end kind of ruined it, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to really sit down. Almost everything that was in that first episode, like, it actually does a lot really well. I will say just consistently the fucking audio balance is just some of the worst we've seen in quite a while. Again, like, the music, while overall the choice in the music is incredible, I think the musical elements add so much to every scene, but just it's so loud relative to the voiceover that it drowns things out, and it kind of baffles me. Like, did they not listen to it before finalizing it? Because I feel like you should be able to hear that it's just not right. So that really is shocking to me, because it's a major issue that is dragging this show down quite a lot, in my opinion. Because otherwise, it's actually doing things really well. So now I'm a little curious as to what the relative technological period is, since, they're in an era with ninjas and that being things. And this looks like an early camera, so I don't know, maybe late 1800s and early 1900s. If this is even representative of the real world, I don't know. I don't know. It's a question. We'll see. Technology in a lot of these shows tends to kind of be a little confusing. Like, I remember when I watched Demon Slayer, that confused the hell out of me for a while, because I thought they were in, like, feudal Japan, and then I saw, like, actual, like, street lights and shit, but the kid's trying to impress Naruto by, pretending he's all smart and stuff and reading from the textbook, essentially, but it's a scroll, but it's, the textbook. Okay, I like that, and it's a good way of giving us a little bit of world building as far as how the actual magical stuff works, because that is an important element of pretty much any fantasy-esque show, which, it's not like a full fantasy, but, it does have a lot of fantasy elements. So, knowing how the magic system generally works is important, and that was a pretty effective way of giving us an comedic. I get the joke here; it's funny, but again, it is also funny that there's just, in this ninja village, there's just a regular bookstore that sells magazines and shit, which, I don't know. Some of the technological stuff of this world is going to confuse the shit out of me. I can already tell. Think of it, I actually do like the juxtaposition they're doing with these two characters, where they're showing Naruto as kind of the one who is outcast because of his heritage. Heritage is probably not the right way of putting it, but, he had the demon sealed inside of him. So, kind of the circumstances of his existence are leading him to be an outcast, whereas the grandson is the, grandson of the third Hokage, so that he is treated specially and, again, not fully accepted as one of the group because of his heritage. So, interesting way of juxtaposing the fact that they both feel like they are pushed to the side because of their circumstances, even though one is in, like, a positive direction, one is in a negative direction. I don't think that little thematic thing they're doing there of the, like, they don't see him, they see his title and all that stuff, where I feel like that was obvious enough that they didn't have to have him verbally say it. But again, that's one of my pet peeves when it comes to writing, is that, like, sometimes it's okay to just let the audience take in the cool stuff you're doing without having to explicitly tell them about it. But yeah, I'm not gonna harp on about it. Really fucking stupid. But also I realized that, like, anytime I play a game like an eroge that features a battle system with a a lust mechanic, it pretty much works exactly like that. So I can't. I guess I really don't have any room to criticize, and it is funny. So I'll give it that. But I also do find it funny that this confrontation ended with the teacher getting molested by the child, which is interesting. But I feel like this is the kind of thing you learn fairly fast. If you have background music, you don't make it too loud. I don't know. Yeah, like, this is definitely, like, I will say so far, like, most of what the show is doing kind of puts it actually pretty solid A tier, but I think the audio issues are gonna drag it down to a B tier most likely, because that it is just bad. Wait. Okay, I probably am completely wrong, but it looks like he's drawn dicks above his headboard. It's probably something else, and if I see the picture in its entirety, it probably will make more sense. But those look like dicks to me. Okay, yeah, it's not dicks, but I still don't know what it is. Wait, trying to see what that says. Something at 9 o'clock. It's hard to read some of those, like the kanji especially is a little hard to read. And again, leaning on the comedic elements that they established early on in the previous episode, but I wonder if that won't undermine the actual learning and development he had in the previous episode, if they keep showing him kind of just eating shit like that. There's something Sakura. Okay, I wonder if that's her name, is what's on her forehead, because the bottom says Sakura. I can't really tell what the top says. Something Hiru. I don't know. So, like, I wonder if this essential sketch is almost like the inner person. I don't know. It's interesting. I have to check if I've seen it. I saw this happen before with a different character. If it happens again with other characters, that's definitely something to look out for. I'm definitely going to see if I can. It mentions that she's a ninja, but I mean, she's a kunoichi, because that's what a female ninja is, a kunoichi. Maybe there's just some of the linguistic stuff is just stuff I'm not super familiar with. I could be just completely off base here, but I feel like ninja is the male version, kunoichi is the female. It might just be that ninja is more of an umbrella term, and kunoichi specifically refers to a female ninja. Triangle, but like a web of stuff where Naruto's into Sakura, Sakura's into Sasuke, and the other girl's into Naruto. I don't know, it's a little tropey, but I could see it kind of going either way as far as whether I like it or not. It has the potential to be very, like, with good writing, it could be pretty good. Without good writing, it's just like, high school drama bullshit, which is not exactly my preference when it comes to writing, but it's funny. So, okay, so I mentioned how I liked how the rivalry starting off with some dumb bullshit, but it's even deeper than that. It's dumb bullshit that leads into more dumb bullshit. Kind of, political stuff is going to be going on underneath the hood of things, because, in real world history, the ninjas actually, like, had, like, real purposes, what they did. Like, they actually had goals as far as, geopolitical stuff, which, because they basically were like assassins, more or less. But so I'm wondering, like, if they have missions, there's going to be a reason for the missions. I wonder what that is and when they'll actually establish that. Because if there's just some kind of nebulous, undefined enemy, that's going to be a little unsatisfying. Oh, God, sorry. Sorry for the YouTube viewers. I'm going to have to mute because YouTube is catching the audio, so I don't want the stream to get nuked. So yeah, YouTube's going to be muted for now, but nothing I can really do about that. That's a running risk when it comes to these things. Okay. So I gotta say, again, I didn't really know much about Naruto going into things. I wasn't really expecting Sakura to be a girl failure. Okay. So it's just, just a stream of subversions. That also does seem to be a pretty running trend. They've done it a couple times where they just had one twist after another twist after another twist, just chaining reveals after each other. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I'll be honest. This one, I get that they're kind of doing almost like a slice of life thing. It's like, I don't know. This is a little. This episode's not grabbing me like the first two did. So, part of me is thinking that might actually be Sasuke. That it feels like the kind of reveal that this show would do if I'm reading it right. That's my prediction. Or maybe it's not. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to think that might actually be Naruto then. Okay, I don't know. I misread the situation then. Or no, actually no. Okay, that was actually Sasuke. Okay, I'm gaslighting myself. He was still shitting his brains out. Okay, that is interesting. Wait, so they're like autonomous? Okay, the mechanics of how this shadow clone jutsu works is gonna confuse the hell out of me, especially since there's only like 2 more minutes to go in this episode. Yeah, well, hey, synonymous with filler. It's episode 3. There shouldn't be any filler yet. Like, filler is the kind of thing, like, because it's still introducing. Like, this is the introductory episode for Sakura and Sasuke, and to a lesser extent, Ino and Hinata. So, like, again, I'm not a fan of filler in general, but like, this early especially, I don't think there should be filler. Okay. Okay, so so they're salvaging my opinion of Sakura a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I saw the episode count, so I figured there had to be some, like, a decent amount. Like, you can't have 1,000 fucking episodes of actually just, like, pure, good, continuous storytelling. Like, there has to be some filler mixed in there, just based on how this is, and also just how a lot of shonen series, just the reality of how they're structured because of just financial stuff. Just, I understand that's going to kind of lead to filler as an inevitability, but like, yeah, it's. I will say so far I've liked a lot of what this show has done in these first 3 episodes. Um, Definitely a couple of things really holding it back. The fact that they're already doing some kind of filler stuff with. I mean, there's some actual story work going on with this episode, but most of it is just not really all that consequential. Let's see. Let's see. It's good from what I remember. However, I heard the anime adaptation messed with Sakura's character quite a bit. Again, I can't really comment on that because this is kind of, this episode was the introduction to Sakura. I mean, they showed her in the previous episode, but this is the first time she was actually like exists as a real character. So I can't speak to it, and I can see some good stuff with her character, but it's still very early introductory stuff. So I can't say if it's actually going to what it's actually going to amount to. But yeah, I don't know. I went in. I will say I started the stream knowing very very little about Naruto. I pretty much knew about the clones. I knew that the memes about Sakura, and that's about it. I want to mention it since Naruto fans get triggered. You don't know that? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I will say, I don't know. I mean, I may not know much about Naruto myself, have no experience with it, but I mean, I've known Naruto fans throughout my life. I don't know. They seem to be more, the ones in my experience, they've been more kind of eager than actually kind of, having that kind of cringe, like, what? You don't know XYZ? Da, da, da. But that's been my experience. I mean, granted, I remember one of my friends, well, I haven't spoken to him in years, but one of the guys I was friendly with, he described himself as a Narutard. So that was, and I remember him just being excited to, just share his appreciation for Naruto more than anything else. Okay, let's see. It's the writing for the female cast. Not sure how much of that is just people hating on women versus bad character writing. Who knows? I mean, if I watched more of the show, I could probably actually give you an answer for it. So far, again, the only female characters we've really had so far were Sakura and Hina and Ino, but we haven't really seen very much of them at all. And so far, they are kind of doing the typical, teenage girl things. But that's also kind of to be expected, even for a good character. That can be the case with the introductions of even good characters. Because, like, I mean, I know I mentioned it a lot, but Love is my favorite visual novel series, and it starts out as pretty much like a high school moege, and a lot of the characters are very tropey early on. They kind of fit these teenage girl stereotypes, but they're also some of the best characters I have ever read in fiction, and they really build on those characterizations to create really actual meaningful good stories out of it. So I'm not going to prejudge Sakura's character right now or any of the other women that are in the show because I just haven't seen enough of them to really judge yet. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my basic opinion of it so far, from what I've seen, is They do have a little bit of an issue with that, whereas they're telling some stuff that they really should be showing. It's not too egregious, at least from what I've seen. I could definitely imagine it gets worse as the series goes on. That's definitely a possibility. But also, my biggest complaints so far is really the is actually audio related more than anything, because the music, well, I actually really, really like the music they're using, and especially in the action scenes, the music is fucking excellent. But it's so fucking loud relative to everything else that it drowns out the voiceover, which is just like an amateur mistake, like the kind of mistake I would make in my earliest days on YouTube. Something I learned fairly quickly. I don't know. It's uh-oh, dude. What is going on here? Uh-oh. That's not good. OBS is shitting the bed. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna... Okay, let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay, sorry about that. OBS kinda shit the bed right there. But it seems to be back. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was for some reason OBS just lost connection on two of my three instances ended up losing connection for a while. Um I don't know exactly what caused it, but yeah, whatever the issue was, it's resolved now. And of course, now YouTube is giving me the toolbar to say that but they're not receiving enough video after the issue's been resolved, because of course YouTube is. But okay, whatever. Let's just finish this off because we're almost done anyway. Yeah, that was really weird. I was almost gonna actually end the stream just outright because it was just dropping frames like a motherfucker. And yeah. Okay, so that explains the diarrhea. Honestly, I mean, okay, so I sympathize that food poisoning's no fucking joke. But okay, so yeah, I will say overall, my opinion of these first three episodes are, it's yeah, it has a lot of good going for it. As I said, the writing, the fundamentals are actually pretty solid. It's not doing anything particularly groundbreaking as far as the storytelling goes, but what it is doing, it's doing fairly effectively. Wasn't a huge fan of episode three because again, it feels like it's already introducing filler, which before it's even finished the introductory portion of the show, which is a little ridiculous. Although it did pretty effectively set up the foundations of the dynamic between Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke, which I imagine is going to be a big focus moving forward. But yeah, overall the writing was fine. Serviceable. Nothing too bad. It had a few little notes of things that I thought were pretty impressive, like actually good character work going on. Particularly with I like the parallels between Naruto and the little kid. How they basically had the same problem, just approaching it from opposite directions. I thought that was pretty neat. And, again, overall, I think the core thematic stuff they're doing is, it works. I will say, audio wise, the music is, again, I think the choice of music and the implementation of it was pretty much spot on throughout the series. I really liked the songs they picked. I really liked what they added to their various scenes. I think it was excellent all around, but the audio balancing was just horrific, where the music was always way too loud and it always drowned out the voiceover. I cannot believe they actually keep doing that. Like that is it. I am like genuinely stunned. Oh, is no okay. I don't know. OBS looked like it might be shit in the bed again, but no, it's good. But yeah, so yeah, music is good, but like the balancing is just so fucking bad. I hope they fix that later on in the show because like it's actually just astounding that that managed to make the final cut, and they didn't just kind of lower the levels of that track. I don't know. I will rant about that all day if I let myself. But and then animation is nothing special, but it's very effective for what it is. I actually kind of like how it's not super flashy. It makes some of the effects feel a little bit more grounded. Like the shadow clones and stuff is obviously kind of is fantastical, but it does fit. Yeah, let's see. I don't know if it's an issue with the anime on the website or a genuine audio balancing issue. Yeah, I don't know for sure. I can only kind of go on what I saw. I might I mean, it's one of those things that was so egregiously bad. I might end up before I actually work on the script, or at least before I work on this section of the script, I might actually go to a different platform, to another, perfectly legal I swear officer website to see if that issue exists there as well. To see if I can, because if it exists on multiple different sources, I can probably say safely say it's probably an issue with the production, but I don't know. That's something I'll have to look into to confirm one way or another. Because I will say, if it is an actual production issue, that's gonna actually drag it down a full tier. Because like it's bad enough that it was consistently distracting. If not, I will account for that. But as is, it probably without the audio issues, I would say it's probably a high B tier so far. It's definitely was an enjoyable experience. I can see why people like it, and it's definitely something I could imagine just kind of throwing on in the background. Just you want to kill a little bit of time. Yeah, so that's solid B tier. If the audio issues are actually the fault of the production, that'll drag it down to C tier because it's just kind of ridiculous. But yeah, that's probably where I'm going to be landing overall. Although, of course, as always, my caveat is that my final decisions will be made as I'm working on the script. So any of those opinions could change over time as I have the chance to kind of gather my thoughts together and really kind of figure out what I really think about things, obviously. So that's going to be it for today. But one thing, as I've mentioned in previous streams, is that I've started watching stuff off stream just because I want to get this done faster. I want to get this because I would ideally like to get the video done and released early December. And if we keep up the current stream schedule as the only viewing, that's just not going to happen. So I'm going to be doing some viewing. So I don't. There's going to be no streams tomorrow. I will be watching stuff on my own tomorrow, and today. So I can't say what exactly we'll be watching on Thursday when we come back. My guess, if I rough estimate, is probably going to be either Death Note or Gurren Lagann. Yeah, that's just a guess though, based on how things are going. But either way, next stream will be on Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And again, we'll be watching whatever I've gotten up to at that point because I'm going to watch at least one more tonight on my own. And then I'm going to try to get through 3 tomorrow, but 2 for sure. So yeah, that'll either land us on, if I get through 2 tomorrow, that'll be Death Note. If I get through 3, it'll be Gurren Lagann. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Thanks for stopping by, everybody, whether you chatted or not. It's always appreciated regardless. Hope to see you guys on Thursday.